Hello, everyone. It looks like we are on time here, and my screen is sharing, so we are all good to go here. So first, welcome. Welcome to today. Good morning, good afternoon, evening, whatever it might be for you. We're so excited for you to join us here today. To quickly introduce myself, though, my name is Stephanie, and I'm the Senior Client Champion and Education Coordinator here at Travefy. But I actually also have my colleague Scott Rutz on here as well, but he's going to be kind of in the back end helping to assist with questions during our Q&A session at the end. So if you see him pop in the chat, that is Scott back there doing an awesome job in there. But really, we're so excited to kick off the first webinar of 2020 with you guys. It feels like it's been a while. It's been a couple months since our last one. We had one last month actually, but it just feels like so long. So I'm so excited to be back with all of you and to share this webinar here with you today. So today's webinar is going to be about how to grow your business with Travefy in 2020. So we're in a new year and there's lots of excitement and motivation just buzzing around. So we figured this would be a great time to share how you can boost your business with using Travefy and all the different things you can do. Really simple tips and tricks that you're going to learn here today that you can start implementing right away. So it's going to be a really fun interactive webinar here. To do a couple housekeeping things with the webinar, I do want to go over that this is being recorded. So if you have a colleague who's missing this or a friend that you want to share it with, you will get the recording after this so you can send it to them. But also, if a client ends up giving you a call and you got to take those sales, so go ahead, don't worry, hop off and you will get a recording at the end with the full webinar. We will also reserve time at the end to answer any questions that you might have. So there is a question box through that GoToWebinar panel on your end that you can use to ask any questions. Feel free to ask them during the webinar, and we're pretty much just going to be collecting them throughout and at the end as well, and going over those questions. So feel free to put those in, your thoughts, but also if we are unable to answer any of your questions, which typically that happens, lots of questions end up coming in, just feel free to contact us afterwards. You can contact our support team. We're always here and happy to help. Just send us an email at professional@travefy.com, and it might even just be me who replies. Most likely, sometimes I'm going to be hopping in there later this afternoon, so just drop us an email, or you can also get into your account and send us a live chat in there as well too. So don't worry, we're always here. If something comes up tomorrow you think of, chat us, let us know. The other thing I want to point out is this camera that's on. I'm going to leave this on the whole time, just so you can see me here. So if you want to get rid of me, that is okay. I would take no offense, because I know that there's also the screen that's appearing. So there should be an option available where you can kind of it slides. It's like a little slider that you can move me over to another side, or you can just get rid of me and make the screen wider. So just an FYI on that, so you can adjust that on your end in that GoToWebinar panel too. So with all that being said, that's really all the stuff that I had to say at the beginning. So now we want to get into the really fun stuff here today, of really just how to market yourself and grow your business. So there's many different things that we want to cover today. So hopefully we structured it out in a really simple format. But the first thing that we want to talk about is really just general how to market yourself using Travefy. So there really is an easy way to do this. And I can't wait to show it to you. But before I dive into that, I do want to do a quick poll here, because I'm going to talk about social media here for a second. I'm going to talk about how you can share your Travefy, quotes or trips, or, any trips you basically create in your Travefy account, you can share in social media. And it's an excellent way to market yourself. And it's really, really simple. And I'm going to walk you through how to do that. But before I do, I want to do a quick poll here. And the poll is, and this should be coming to you right now, is do you currently use social media to market yourself? So let me know here. I'm going to give it a few seconds here. It looks like a lot of people are voting very quick. Oh, yes, a lot of people are. That's great. So it does look like we have quite a bit of people who are using. 80% are saying yes, 20% are saying no. That's awesome. So that's great. So it looks like a lot of you have already voted. So I'm going to go ahead and close it. Man, you guys are quick. So that is awesome. 80% yes, 20% no. That's a great number. So for those 80% of you, you might already be doing this, but if you're not, this is going to be another way to market yourself on social media. And for the other 20%, this is an easy way to market yourself on social media. So starting out, so did you know that you can use Travefy for social media marketing? Of course, we know this now. So basically, any trip that you create in your Travefy account can be shared on social media. So this is a really great way to show off any trips to your audience and market yourself. So a couple ideas of things to share are maybe some packages or social trips, selling to a group, really basically anything that you want to market to new or old clients. You can put together, a quote of that in Travefy and share it. And I'm going to show you how. So first, I'm going to go over to my computer here, and I want to jump into a trip. So I'm going to go into my account. I'm just going to take a step back here really fast. And so I'm in my account. Let's say that I just went ahead and I just put together this trip. So this all-inclusive beach vacation proposal. Let's say I put this together. So what I can do to grab the link to share in social media for this specific itinerary is just to click into it like I'm editing. Now, once I get in here, I can click the send button. So it's almost like you're just sending it to anybody. But then you can say get trip link. Now you can go ahead and just say copy web link. That's it. You can copy it. You can also preview it. So if you want to preview it, because this is what they're going to end up seeing on the other end once they click into this link, is you could also just take that web URL link at the top and copy it, whichever you prefer to do. But then basically, so I'm using Facebook as my example because I feel like Facebook is probably one of the easiest ones that a lot of you are using. You could do this on Twitter, LinkedIn, wherever you want to put that link at. But basically, Travefy is going to format this link automatically to social media to make it look beautiful. So you'll see here, so this is in the Travefy Facebook page. So after this, go check this out. You'll see it in real life. But basically, all you do is, I just want to put a post here of, for our audience, asking you, have you ever seen a proposal in Travefy, seen what it looks like? So then what I did is I just copied that link in here, and then I can just click post. And now what happens is if I go in here, is you can see now that this post is in here. And then if I click on it, it is going to take me to that trip. How cool is that? So simple and easy. So it's really easy to do. And we really recommend just always putting yourself out there with new packages, because that's what's going to bring it in. If you're putting things out there, it's going to come back in. So really also promote those packages that you want to sell. So, that $299 cruise might be a really great deal, but it's not necessarily a package that you want to sell unless you can sell, a certain amount to really get that commission back. But marketing that cabin upgrade on a 7-day Caribbean cruise, or maybe that luxury river cruise, might be what you want to sell. So promote that. So spend time sharing and promoting, those trips that you really actually want to sell, and build it in Travefy to entice new and previous clients to book with you. So again, really easy, you can use all those easy ways to add stuff into Travefy, which we'll go through here as well. But again, just put it out there, market it. Now, the other thing that we want to focus on here as well is not just putting those general, here's a group trip or here's a cruise to post on social media, but also really promoting those, add-ons. So when you're spending time putting together this stuff, we also definitely recommend, spend time putting things like trip insurance on there, or unique tours that you can provide access to. So always have these new opportunities up your sleeve and keep adding more. If they don't see it, they're not going to know they can book it. And then when they get to the resort, they might just end up booking through the concierge. So you might as well grab them while you can, which is really great. So with that being said, I want to do one more poll here today. And I'm really curious about this, is how many of you currently offer upsells to your clients right now? I'm going to launch this poll here. Okay, there it goes. Oh, wow, lots of them already. So the questions too, or the answers for those questions are yes, no, and sometimes. Now the sometimes I know can be very vague, but I totally get that, a lot of times if it's it's a client that you've worked with before, or a certain client that you're like, I'm gonna add in some extras for this person, you might be doing that. And it looks like that is pretty almost 50-50 with yes, 48% and no, 10%, which is great, low number, that's what we like to hear. And then 42% at sometimes. Well, I'm really hoping that we can change this to 100% at yes with this tip that I'm going to show you here today. And I'm going to go to my Travefy account for this. So this is going to be like big time Travefy right here. So with Travefy, there's something called your library. Many of you might already be very familiar with this. If you don't, the library is a way to save information to keep reusing over and over again. Now, the reason why we stress the library so much with upsells is because this is going to be those items that you're going to save and just reuse again when you're building these quotes and proposals, and adding these extra just upsells in there. So I'm going to show you how to do this. So I'm going to go directly into my library just by clicking on the library button at the top here. And you can see here, these are all of my library items. Now I'm going to add a couple in here because I want to show you how quick and simple it is to add information to your library. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new item. Now, what's great about the library, make sure you think about this as it can be something very specific and it can be something very generic that you can, add and remove things as you add it to an itinerary. So I'm going to show you kind of both options of that just to get your mind spinning of different things that you can put in your library. So the first thing that I want to add is I want to add something about trip insurance. We get a lot of users who will say, how do I add trip insurance to my my proposal or my itinerary? And the answer is you can add anything you want. So it's really quick and easy to add this. So I always recommend this one. It's one of the top ones that people ask. So I want to be sure to include this, and I'm going to show you how to add this. So first, I'm going to click New Library Item. So it's just right up there in that top left-hand corner. And then I'm going to choose an info because it's not really an activity. It's more of kind of like information. But I'm going to build this as something a little more generic. So that way, this is something that you can just throw on to any proposal or even itinerary that you're sending to clients. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a title here. So I'm just going to say, don't forget travel insurance. I'm not going to get in your face and tell you that you need it, but I'm just going to tell you why you shouldn't forget it. So then what I'm going to do is I have this little note section. I'm just going to paste over just so that way you don't watch me type for paragraphs in here. So this is just something that we kind of pulled through. It's very generic once again. So you can put whatever you'd like in here. This is just an example. We also added a link to an outside source because trip insurance is a pretty big, there's a lot of information to cover. So if you want to add a link to somewhere else, or maybe you have a blog post about trip insurance on your own website, link it in there. It's really easy to do. You can just click that link option in the notes field and just add it. So really quick way to add that. The other thing I always like to add are photos. Sometimes, you might not need a photo, but always like to put in a photo if I can. So I am actually just going to go ahead and upload one from my own computer. So I have one saved in here. I'm just going to go in here. Let's see, travel insurance. That's the one. So I'm going to go ahead and just add that, and I'm going to click save. And there we have it. That's all I'm going to do. Literally, that's it. I'm just going to say done editing. Now I have this forever. So now whenever I'm building new proposals, quotes, itineraries, I will just pull it right in. Very simple. But now I want to show you another example. So let's say that we have something more specific, like maybe I like to recommend a certain cooking class in Venice. So I'm going to provide details on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say new library item, and I'm going to choose it as an activity because that's basically what this one would be. And then I can also choose a subcategory, and I am going to choose that for this because the icon that it gives me is a little fork and spoon. It just looks really great with this type of activity. So I'm going to go ahead and choose food and drink. But then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the title in here. And then I'm going to add some notes, and I just pulled these from the tour provider website. So again, if there's someone you work with, just go ahead and copy and paste that information, or maybe add your own stuff in there. The other great thing is you can add your own photos in here too, because a lot of times maybe you have your own photos, and that's really cool to be able to share just those in there. But the one thing that I wanted to add in here is I want to add a video because this is kind of a newer feature for us and I love showcasing it. It is so cool and adds so much pizzazz to any trip that you add it to. So I'm going to add a video that's just from YouTube, and it's from this provider, this tour provider. They created one. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click the video option, and then I'm going to paste in, and I'm going to add it. Now this is just a fun video about kind of what to experience with this cooking class. I'm just going to save that in there, and then there we go. I can add photos if I want, but I'm just going to go ahead and say this is good, and then I'm going to say done editing. And that's basically how you add them. Very, very easy, quick, simple. But I want to show you what it looks like in an actual example, just to show you really just how beautiful this is. Because look at this. We have the don't forget the travel insurance. So here's what it looks like. We have that photo. We have that link. Really easy to view. Then we also have that private cooking class in Venice. And look at that, we have a video. We can go click and watch her make pasta. How cool is that? It's so nice. And literally it took me a minute, maybe not even. So really easy ways to add those in there. So that's what we recommend. So marketing yourself on social media with trips, but also having those upsells always in your back pocket by saving them to your library. But let's say now, best part about all this. You're doing all this marketing, you're getting all these inquiries now, and you have potential customers, but they want quotes, they want specialized quotes. So now what are you going to do? Well, this is where Travefy proposals and quotes are going to come in. Now you're going to hear me refer to this as proposals, but it could be quotes or whatever you like to refer to it as. But Travefy makes it very simple for you to put together really enticing quotes and proposals for potential new clients. And I'm going to walk you through how to do this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my trips here, just walk outside my library. And I'm going to work on this one, this top one, this all-inclusive beach vacation proposal. I'm just going to hop in here. And I've already started building this out, so you'll see a lot of information in here already. But I'm also going to add some items with you today, so then that way you can kind of see how this works. But the good thing is too, is we do have a lot of videos and help articles on how to create these proposals. So just an FYI, if you want to, after this, you want to just dive in more to the proposals, definitely recommend that. Check out our help center and we can walk you through more of those on how to do. But basically, I'm going to show you a quick version of how to set up a proposal. Now, first, what I've done is I have created a new trip, and you can choose the proposal option. Now, if you choose the proposal option, the itinerary builder is going to look the same because you can see kind of like if you've been in Travefy before, you know this is what it looks like. But when I send this to a client, they can approve it. So I'll walk you through that here too at the end. But I just want to talk about how to set this up first. So you can see here that I have some different options. But one of the most important things about creating a proposal is you might notice that in here I have resort options. I have included flights. I have optional things to do and see. I have all these different things in here, and you're wondering, how did we do that? So basically, the number one answer is just don't put in a start date. So if you're in your settings and you don't have a trip start date set, it's going to say day 1, day 2, day 3, and so on instead of the actual date. So then what you can do, so I'll add a new day here, is you can actually rename the day. So if I click that pencil icon, I can rename this. So this is where we renamed it to like resort options. So what's really cool about doing it this way is that it is up to you what you want to include, and it's very flexible. So if you only have one resort option, but then you have like 3 tour options, just build one day out for resorts and then the next day for tours. So it's up to you. There's a lot of different examples, again, that you'll find in our help center, but that's basically how we did that in there. But then what you want to do is you want to start adding the information. So you also can see here that I do have a trip price in here, and where that's coming from is my settings. So I do have a trip price in here. Now, the other thing that I would recommend doing is in that description field, that is going to be displayed underneath the pricing and underneath the name. So that's a really great area if you need to break down pricing, or if you just want to say, here's what this is including, just because it does sit at the top. So, you can put more pricing information in that area. But otherwise, what I want to do though is I want to add a couple things in here just to show you how we did this. So you can see here in the first day that I have resort options. So we have resort option 1, 2. Now let's add the third one together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press new event. So very similar to how you create other itineraries, you just create new events. And I'm going to choose the lodging option. Now you can go ahead and quickly type in the hotel here and it'll just create an event for you. But I'm actually going to go ahead and just say add lodging information manually. That way all of the options that I can edit are expanded for me right away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a title here. So there's my title. So this is option number 3, Panama, Jack, Cancun. And then what we're going to do is we're going to utilize that notes section. Now you can see that there is a pricing field, so you could put the pricing in there. We've kind of been doing, like I'm going to show you what we've been doing in this specific example, is when there's multiple prices offered, you might want to just put them down here, just because it's like you can choose a junior suite or do you want, the ocean view. So then that gives you the option, to add more pricing. But if it really is just one pricing, feel free to add that in that pricing area right there. Otherwise, if you leave it blank, it just doesn't display at all. But otherwise, this is where you can go ahead and put in those notes in there. We also could add our photos. So if you want to add photos in here, the number one place I recommend is adding it from a website. This is really cool. You can just copy and paste the Panama Jack website in there and we'll scrape for photos, which is just really quick and simple, easy way to add those photos in there. Otherwise, again, if you have your own photos, you want to include them, you can. And then I can go ahead and type in the name of the place down here. So I'm just going to say it's Panama Jack Cancun. So there it is. And I'm just using Travefy's database here. So it just quickly pulls it in. And that way, we have all the info. If you do need to edit this, customize it further, you certainly can do that. You always can just say, click that pencil icon. You can edit whatever you'd like in there. But then otherwise, I'm just going to say done editing. And there it is. So really quick and easy. It's very similar to building a trip. You're just kind of formatting it a little differently by saying, hey, this is an option, or here's pricing in there. So really quick and easy to do there. The other thing that I want to show too is how you can add, from your library. So we were talking about the library. Now I have to do what I'm preaching here. So I want to show you how to pull in from that library. Now I actually already pulled it in here, but let's pretend the spa package and massage is not there. But I have that saved to my library. So if I wanted to add that in here and it's saved, you would just come over here to the right-hand side to where your library is. Click search and then just start typing in, what it is. So you can see here as I start typing, you can see that it's going to populate there. So if I just click it, it'll just add it automatically for me. So see how it added it there. Now, if you need to go in and edit things or add pricing, you can do that, and this won't affect what's in the library. So that's why I was mentioning earlier about keeping it generic is totally fine, because you can always just pull it into a trip, add what you need for that specific client, and then you always have just that generic information available at any time. So really quick and easy there. The other thing that I always recommend with proposals is a great way to add a lot of information quickly, because again, sometimes with proposals, you might not want to spend forever on it, if it's not, you're not too sure about it, but you need it to look perfect because you want them to book. So one of the easiest ways to do this is city guides. Now, city guides are going to be your rich destination content that you can quickly pull in. Now, we have guides to over 625 different destinations worldwide. Now, to pull these in, all you have to do is come over here to the right-hand side where that library was, click on city guides, and then just begin typing in the name of the place. So we need Cancun, so I'm going to choose Cancun. And then what I can do is I can either drag and drop this entire city guide in, or I can pick and choose sections, which I actually want to do because I don't want to overwhelm them necessarily because they haven't even booked yet. So I'm just going to add a couple. I'm just going to say, here's about the city. Like, this is why you should visit Cancun because it's cool. Here's a little bit about it. And then maybe we just want to say, there's lots to do here. Here's all the different things that you can do and see. And then what's great about this too is they might say, hey, I'm really interested in, Aqua World. Can you get me tickets there? And you can, and you have a commission. It's amazing. So literally if all that information, just display it there, and then they'll see it and they'll know that it's an option, and then they will book it. Hopefully, that's what you're aiming for. So that's just kind of, you know, really quick ways to add that rich information there. But now let's say, you know, we've added our resort, you know, we added our resort, our spa option that we had to our library and our city guides. So those are the only things I want to quickly walk through. But now I want to talk to you about how you actually share this with your client and what it looks like for them. So when you're ready to just send this away, you can either just click that send button, kind of where we were earlier, but you can also just preview it. And this is what it's going to look like for your clients. We'll let it load here. So here's what it looks like. You can see those resort options. So see how you don't see a day, it just says resort options. And they can click and expand these photos, you know, see all this rich information. Really great stuff, all the pricing. But what's really cool about this proposal is that they can approve it. So it's no more waiting around or checking in, like, have you checked it out yet? You know, have you seen it? They can actually just approve it here. So to do that, they just click approve proposal. They would put in their name, so it's just defaulted to me because it's on my computer. But you know, you can just go ahead and say full name, email address, and then they can just approve it. Once they approve it, you're going to receive an email notification letting you know that congrats, they've approved it. And then it's going to automatically convert this into an itinerary. So that way you don't have all these different, you know, proposal and itinerary. It's the same link that they view their proposal, they'll be able to view with their itinerary as well. Now, one thing that I want to point out too, because this is kind of a newer feature as well, is you'll see here that when they do approve it, there are some terms down here that they have. So that's what's great about this is that, you know, they're not just approving for fun and clicking around, they're legitimately approving this proposal. So down here, you can keep these terms that we have automatically placed in there. But if you have your own terms, you can add those. And I just want to quickly show you how, because this can be very important when dealing with, you know, lots of proposals and accepting them, is if you go into your account settings. So I'm going to go into my account here. And then what we can do is we go to our settings. And right here, it says use custom terms on proposals. If you check that box, you can put in your own terms, and then that will be what's displayed for them. So that's a really just helpful thing. So if you have legal jargon you need to add in there, put it in there. That's the great thing. They'll have everything. Another thing that you could do is you can also always include that kind of stuff in the proposal itself. So you can always attach documents. So I've seen that before where if you have terms and conditions or cancellation policy, you can include that in there too, all at once, which is really helpful. But now, with all of that being said, that is pretty much what we wanted to share with just different ways that you can use Travefy to really build your business and start selling more this year. But I do want to pivot a little bit because we have something super exciting to share, and you are going to be the first people to see this, which is really exciting, is that we have a new feature that we're launching. It's going to be launched within days at this point, which is really exciting. And since we're all here today and I have you on here, we really want to take time to share with you a new feature. So this new feature is called Contacts, and you may have noticed it up here. You might have been like, what is that up there? This is called Contacts. So right up here at the top, do you see where it says that? And you probably have never noticed that before. But I'm actually going to open up a different, I'm just going to share my screen here. We have a little sample one that I want to share is right here, this Contacts. Now, what this is this is going to be a way to save your client information. It's huge. You know, everybody's been asking for it, and we're so excited to finally deliver this to you. It has been months and months and months in the making. So you're going to be seeing in your email inbox soon an announcement about this. So keep your eyes out. And again, it's going to be rolled out very, very soon. But basically with Contacts, you're going to be able to save that client contact information in your Travefy account, making it an easy organization solution for your clients, but also making it easier to add clients to trips and edit their information, including the name or email. So I'm going to show you how this works. So basically, we're going to have the contacts that any client you've sent something to already in your Travefy account, they will be put in here automatically. So then what you can do is you can go in and you can edit information. So let's say you accidentally uploaded the wrong name or the wrong email address. Well, you can actually just come in your contacts and update it. That's what's really great. And then the other thing you can do is you can also keep their information like phone numbers and you can add multiple emails. So if it is somebody who has multiple email addresses, go ahead and keep all of those in there. And then you can also see what trips they've already been sent and shared. So this is just going to be such a cool way. And this is also going to help you with your business because it's going to allow you to keep those leads. So if you have leads coming in, and just put them in your Travefy account if you need to. Otherwise, we'll save them automatically if you share a trip with them. But keep them in there, and then you can keep all their information, and then you can see like, oh, I have not shared this trip with this person. Let me do that just to see if they're interested. Great ways to do that. And you're going to be seeing a lot more features come out of this. So this is just the first release, the main and largest release, but you're going to be seeing more features come out of contacts, which is really cool. So I just had to share that with you because it's really, really exciting. But with that being said, that was everything that I had to share. So I'm going to go ahead. I know there's lots of questions coming in. I'm going to open up for questions here, and I'm just going to switch my screen really fast so I can show you there. So we did have one question come in here from Sue. She asked, what are Powerups? Oh, so you probably saw those in my account there. So Powerups are awesome, and I'm so glad you brought this up, Sue, because these can also help you sell more, which is great. So we offer multiple Powerups. There's 3 of them. So I'm going to go to our main page here. So if you go to travefy.com/powerups, you can see this that I have on my screen. And this is going to walk you through each one. But really, these all are going to help you sell, and I'll tell you why. So embeddable itineraries is the first one we'll talk about here. This is a way that you can create any trip or proposal or quote that you create in Travefy. You can then embed onto your website. So what I see a lot of users do with this is if you have group trips or maybe you do like destination weddings, you can take that itinerary that you create and put it onto your website. And it's just a simple code that you use to embed it directly on there. Really easy to do, really just nice way if you do want to embed those on there. The other one that well, actually, I want to scroll down to marketing profiles first. The other one is called marketing profiles. Now, this is really awesome, and I actually pulled mine up. I had it up here because I wanted to show this with you, because what this allows you to do is create kind of like a digital business card, and here's mine, and you can just turn this on in your account and create it. But this gives you the opportunity to just put a little bit of a blurb about yourself, link all your social media accounts, put your contact information, but then the best part, feature trips that you've created in your account. So what this is going to be really great for is this is a great way to list the current packages that you're selling or any group trips that you're working on, and just keep them in here. So you can pick up to 3. So you can see like how I have these ones in here right now just as examples. But when they click on this, they'll be taken to that itinerary that you built or that trip that you've built. So it's just really easy way, to keep all of those in one place. Now what's cool about this marketing profile is that link up at the top says travefy.com/profile/Stephanie. I created that name, so you create your own name. But you can take that link, paste it in like your email signature or your social media accounts. And that way it's great if you either, if you don't have a full website, or if you do have a website, but you just want a really simple landing page for people to go to, this is a great option for that. So really easy way to do that. The other thing, the last one here, is also domain masking. This actually allows you to mask the domain of the trip link that you send. So this is going to give you a whole extra level of branding, and it's going to be really great if you choose to add those links on social media like we did at the beginning, because it's going to say your company name. So like this example, like let's say it's like my company name is VIP Travel, it would say trips.viptravel.com. So it's just really cool. And all of these Powerups are easy to implement. You can just go right into your account, turn them on, and then they're all $9 a month if you purchase monthly. If you purchase annually, it's just $7 a month. So it's just a really inexpensive way to just build on that branding and add more to your marketing. So again, glad you asked that. Okay, so Alexandra asks, is it possible to white label the trip link? Domain masking, yes, that's what it was. Perfect. So yeah, you can do domain masking, which again, really easy to implement. And let me show you here actually too. And in your account, if you do want to turn those on, you can go to Powerups here, but you can just simply turn them on right in your account and start using them right away. So that's a cool thing. And if you have any questions, you need help with anything, just chat us in that live, that live chat, and we can help you out too as well. Betsy asks, once you have an itinerary with actual dates, can you still add an undated day for additional information? So right now you cannot, but what you can do is a couple things. And I'm going to show you here. So I'm going to just create a new itinerary just to walk you through this. So let's say we have this new trip, and I'm going to go ahead and add a day here so we can see this in real time there. So let's say that at the end, maybe I wanted to include, something else that's not related to a day. You could still change the day name. So I could still change this title, title day, whatever, you would put in there. They will see that date, but you can just go ahead and just say, so they should understand. But the number one place that I would recommend doing is actually using this information document section. This is an area that you can put any information in, and it's not going to pertain to a specific day. So it's actually just on their itinerary as another section. So that's what I would recommend. Otherwise, you could do the other, where you just title a new day. But I would recommend the information document section in there. Let's see. Megan asked, can you go over city guides? Yeah, so basically with those city guides, again, over 625 different destinations you can pull in. But what's really cool is let's say I'm going to add London in here. So I'm just going to search London. And then what I can do is I can add the entire city guide in here if I want. Now you can either drag and drop it, or if you want, you can also click that little plus icon. That also adds it in there. But you can also pick and choose sections. So I could just say, I just want to add a couple things in here. But another thing that's really cool about this is that you can also keep scrolling down and you are going to see all of the places that are added into each section. So why this is nice is because let's say your client they don't need everything. They're just going to, let's say, the British Museum. So I'm going to go into a new day here. Let's say the British Museum is the only thing that I want to add. So what I can do is I can still drag and drop just that one place. And all the information that the city guide's including is going to come through on here, but as just as one item. So that's another thing that's really cool. So a lot of times, we get well, I don't want to offer my client all these different options. So that's a great way if you just want to pick and choose a couple. But the other thing you could do too is if you want to just include, let's say I'm going to say the bars and nightlife here. I can also edit this. So if you go in to click that pencil icon, I can come in here and I can remove out places that I don't want to include. So maybe there's places that are just too far from your client's hotel. You can remove those out. You can also add your own too. And then the one last thing that I do want to mention with city guides is if there's ever a city guide that maybe it's not in there or you just want to put your own expertise, you can build your own city guides by clicking the new event button and then choose info. And then there's the option for city guide as a subcategory. And then you could actually just go ahead and create your own. And if you do that, save it to your library and you'll always have it. Let's see. So Leander asked, do you add optional flight packages the same way? Sometimes the pricing is different dependent on the airline, type of day, etc. Yes, I'm really glad you brought this up actually, Leander, because the one way that I would add those flights, I'm just going to add another day here to blank it out. But what you would want to do is click the new event button, choose flight. Now you can see that you can always just add it. But what I would do in this case is I would click add flights manually, because this way it's going to keep it all condensed to one event. Because when you add a flight, by looking it up, it's going to add the date, and it's also going to add a departure and an arrival event. So instead, maybe I just want to go ahead and add, here's all the information you need to know for this one flight. So I'm just going to say flight option number 1 or flight package details. Just add that in there and then go to your notes section and then just start listing out the details they need. That is definitely what I would recommend. And again, I just clicked the add flights manually option, and then you have more area to add, what you need to include for that package. So Deb asked, can I share sample trips or packages on social media to get new bookings when business is slow? You are correct in thinking that, Deb. That is exactly right. Yeah, so definitely share those sample trips or packages on your social media when things get slow. And then what's great about it is you can include little messages to them. So when you post on social media, you might say like, hey, I'm booking now, or book this before end of the month, whatever you might want to include. But if you go into your settings, you can also add some description notes in here. So you can say like, if you're interested in this package or another one, email me at, wherever. That's another place where you can kind of add some information for them. But I would definitely recommend doing that because it takes a second to do that. So it's also really nice if there's ever any trips that you've built in the past in Travefy that you just want to kind of either turn that into a proposal, you can always copy those. So if there was somebody that maybe put together a really awesome safari package for a client a year ago and you want to promote that, you can go to their itinerary and copy it and then just start building a new version, maybe remove out some details and make it more vague and share that. So you're not spending too much time on it, but it's just a way to always have that content out there. Let's see. Oh, Kim asked, can I add videos to my Travefy trips? Yes. So I showed this one earlier that you can add, and let me find that link in my notes here, and then I can show you how to do that. So basically, if you go to YouTube, that's the example I'm going to use here is a YouTube link. And let's say I'm building a tour here, tour package, and you're going to add your video right in here is where you would normally add your photos. And then you're just going to click the video option, and all you're going to do is paste that in, add the video, and there it is. And then that way, when you share this with your client, they'll be able to click on it and it'll expand open. So it won't take them out anywhere else, which is nice. It'll just expand it open and they'll be able to view it. So really awesome feature there. And that's still, it's pretty new. So it's for those of you who didn't know it was there, you should go start using it because it's really cool. Okay, so let's see here. Another question is, does Travefy offer discounts for team or agencies? From Dan. Yes, so you can create what we call a team in Travefy, and how that's going to work is basically allows every person on your team to have their own account and login. So that way they have their own profile. So when they create a trip and they send it to a client, it's going to have their information on it. But if you're working together, you can create a team, and that way you can collaborate on itineraries together. You can also share the library, which is extremely helpful. And then those contacts will also be shared once those roll out as well. Now, what's great about the team is you do get an automatic discount. So automatically, you don't even have to reach out to us. If you add one person to your team, it is going to give you a 15% discount on both subscriptions. If you get up to 5 people on a team, it'll increase to 20%. If you get up to, I believe it's 15, it goes to 25%. So really awesome. And again, those are going to automatically come up, but feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions or you need help getting that set up. But it's a really great, way to save money, but also get your whole team on there and collaborating together. Let's see, another question in here. Oh, so this is good. So I kind of walked through this, but I'm going to walk through it again because it is really important. Is someone asked, can you show how to put in the flight information with no dates? Do you copy and paste from supplier site? Yeah, so that's really great to bring that up because when we remove these dates out, so I'm just going to remove these dates so I can show you here. So you're going to see this change to day 1 and so on. But when you go to add a flight, we do need a date to look it up. So that's where you're going to want to scroll down and click add flights manually. And that way you don't have to put a date in there. So that's how we do that when we add those two proposals and quotes in there. Let's see, Betsy asks, how many different fields are there on the new contact feature? Ooh, I'm glad we have some questions about contact. We are seriously, our team is very excited to release this. So I'm excited to answer your question here. So I'm gonna go into contacts again. And again, this will start displaying once we launch it. And this is my account, so it's really jumbly. So kind of ignore, you can see I have lots of pretend accounts in here. But basically to give you an example of this, you're gonna have the field for the name, and then you're also gonna have details so you can add an email address, and you can add multiple again. Now when you're adding email addresses, the first email address that you have saved at the top is gonna be the one that we're always sending something to. So if somebody's like, can you send this to my work email, then you'll just wanna move that one to the top. You can also put in their phone number in here and street address. And the street address is just going to link to Google Maps. So it's really nice because it kind of autofills for you. So you can see here how it just like autofills. And then that's it. And then you can remove them if you need as well too. But really great way, and lots of cool stuff in there. The other thing you can do is you can also see who's currently traveling. So this is another thing actually that is just going to really help with your customer service using Travefy to better that, is just that you can always see who's traveling. And because of that, you can go into their trip. You can say, okay, cool, I'm going to go into their trip and just send them a message and just say, how's it going? You know, things like that. Very easy. You can also see, you know, who's upcoming, or obviously, you know, who's past would be all the rest of them. But yeah, so that's really good. And if you are working as a team that created by you, you can click on, and that will narrow down to all the contacts that you've shared things with or you've added. Let's see, another question here is, how does the app look from the client side? That's a good question here. So I'm gonna actually open up, we have a Trip Plans mobile app page here, and we have a little live feature that you can play with. So I'm going to use this on here since I don't have a way to show my, I guess I could show you my phone on here, but I'll show you here on the screen. And you can always go on here and play with it as well. But we do have a couple different apps. So we have an app for you as a travel professional to use, and that's going to give you access to all the trips that you're building in your account. And then you can also message your clients on there too. But the app that your clients download is called Trip Plans, and it's unbranded. That's why it's called Trip Plans, because we don't want them to know about us. We just want them to see your branding. So that's what they're going to see. And here's an example. And then with this, they'll be able to scroll through, you know, look at all the different days, things like that. They can also chat you. Now, one thing that's really important to highlight about this, since we have been talking about proposals, is if you're creating a proposal, they do not have the option to view that in the app. The only option they can view is just as that link, or if you generate a PDF for them. But otherwise, if you want them to be able to download an app, you will need to convert that into an itinerary or just start it as an itinerary. And so that's just one thing to be aware of in there. Let's see here. Another question here from Debbie is, when a client accepts a proposal, how do we convert that to the actual itinerary? Does that completely open a different trip? So great timing on that question, because I was actually going to just show you this, because I was explaining on how, you know, if you want them to see the app, it has to be an itinerary. And if you need to switch anything, you can always switch stuff. So if you click on it and you're like, this needs to be an itinerary, not a proposal, just go ahead and switch it here, and you can change it to an itinerary or vice versa. But otherwise, once they confirm it, it will automatically turn itself into an itinerary. So I'll just do this here, like if I were a client. So I'm just gonna say approve proposal. I'm just gonna say approve. And here's what it looks like for them too. It'll say, congratulations. And so now if I go back to my account page, I just need to refresh it here. You're going to see that now it's going to be listed as a trip. So see how it says approved, and now it has converted itself to an itinerary. But the great thing is it's going to give you a file that you can always have that will have the version of the proposal. So the great thing about this is now if your client ever comes back and they're like, you quoted me this price, and you're like, no, I didn't. I have proof for that. So that's why we do that. We just like to have that, so you have that on file, and all that option, you know, it's right there and you don't have to do anything. That's what's nice about it too. Let's see. Sippy asked, how much is the monthly fees for joining Travefy? So you can choose to subscribe monthly or annually. Monthly is going to be $39 a month, 39 USD. Or annual, you will save 20%. So recommend that if you want to upgrade to that. And that is going to be $31 a month. Now, for those of you who might be new to Travefy, and I apologize for not showing you this earlier, you can go to travefy.com and start a free trial. And we give you 10 days to trial, and you have access to everything. So every single thing that I've done here today, you would be able to do in that trial in there. Helen asked, can you please go over how to save stuff in the library, please? Yes, so I showed you earlier how to save things directly into the library. So if you ever just want to come into your library first and start adding content, just click the new library button and then just choose what type of item it is, and then you can start building it out. So you just start filling out the information in there. But let's say that you have something on your itinerary that you want to save, or a proposal you want to save. So what you can do is if I go back in here, and I feel like this is typically how users will save things to your library because they'll save it as they go. So that way, if you have, like, let's say this Dream Sands Cancun Resort, if I just created this manually in this proposal right now, I could go ahead and save it if I click on that pencil icon to open the edit, and then just click Save to Library. And then that way it's going to save it over here for you. So those are a couple different ways that you can save, again, directly from your library if you're going to create it, or directly from a trip. So if there's things that you've created in the past, you can go in there and start saving those in there too. Megan asks, can I turn off app or PDF access for specific itineraries, or does it have to be all or none option? You can choose. So that's a great one to point out here. So if you go into your settings, you have the option for client actions. So we are automatically going to turn those on for you when you begin building stuff, just because most likely users probably want those turned on. But if you don't want them to have that option, you can always uncheck those boxes, and then that will just remove the option, or you can just check one. So if you don't want them to download the PDF, you just want them to get the app, just choose that option. So it's up to you, you know, what will be displayed, which is really nice in there. Steve asked, if I make changes or additions to a trip that I've already sent to a client, do I need to resend it? No. So anything that you edit is automatically going to update for the client. So you don't have to resend things, which is really nice. So that's the same thing if we were going into the settings and we wanted to give them access to doing, you know, to getting the app when they couldn't before. You could turn that on and you don't have to tell them. They'll just go to it and see that option available, which is just really nice as well in there. Betsy asks, how do you make the chat feature work on the client side? I only see options for call, email, and website. So I'm not sure which area that might be, but the chat feature though is going to work in the app for the client. So you want to make sure that the client has downloaded the Trip Plans app. And then once they do, you can chat with them two ways. You can chat in here, so see that discussion. I could send them messages while I'm in Travefy, which is really nice and helpful. So if you make any changes, adjustments, and you just want to say, hey, check this out, check out day 2, or whatever it might be. But you can also open your Travefy Pro app on your phone, and you can send the messages in there. And then you'll also get notified, and so will they. Push notifications do have to be, they do have to say, yes, I want push notifications. But that way, if you send them a message or a chat, they'll receive a notification on their phone and they'll see it and they'll be able to reply directly in there. And if there's any questions on that too, let our support team know. We have a lot of different FAQs on using the mobile app because there's so many different options to do. You know, if you want to use messaging, if you don't, because that's something you can also turn off. So if you choose that you don't want messaging for the app, you can also turn it off. So up to you how you want to do that. Another question is, how do clients access their itinerary from the mobile app? So it's kind of the other way around. So they want to go to their itinerary first. Now there's a couple ways they can do this. So first, let's say I'm going to open, I think I just need to refresh this and then I'll have the app option here. So when I have this is what the client would see. And I just click the app option. Now, since I'm on a computer, I need to send a link to my phone so that it can connect to the App Store. So you can just enter your email in there and it'll send you a link. But otherwise, if I were to open this on my mobile device and I clicked app, it'll take me to my App Store. So whether you're iOS or Android, it's going to take you to the App Store to download Trip Plans. Once they download it, it will automatically bring their itinerary up. It's so easy and simple. And we do have an FAQ that you can share with your clients on how to do that, but otherwise it's really easy. The only time that they might have to do something else is if you have a tagged trip and it's set to private, then when they do open, when that itinerary opens on the app for the first time, it will ask them to either log in or create an account, just because it's private, so we need to know who it is viewing it. But otherwise, that's all they will need to do. And then if they have multiple trips with you, they'll also be able to view all the different trips in that app as well too. Elsa asks, can I approve a proposal for my client if the client has given me a confirmation? Yes. So I know that we do have that sometimes where the agent will just go in and just go and approve it. And all you'll do is kind of what I did earlier, where I was just kind of playing around. I was like, I'm just going to approve it. And I just typed in their name and email. And you can just do that. And then that way they're still going to receive, you'll still receive an email saying that they've just approved it. But then that way, you know, it does show as approved. So yep, you can certainly do that yourself. You'll just want to preview it as the client, and then you can just go ahead and type in their name and email. Another question here from Leander is, when the client has approved the proposal and I'm finalizing the itinerary, how do I take out the non-selected options? Oh yeah, so it's really simple to do. So I'm just going to go into this example that we've been working on here. And I'm just going to remove out. So let's say, you know, out of those 3 resort options, they end up choosing number 2. So what I'm going to do to remove these out is I'm going to press the pencil icon to bring me into that edit modal there. And then down at the bottom, I'm going to click delete event. And now that just deletes it. Now I'm going to do the same thing for 3 because they didn't choose that one. Now what I can do is, now of course it's still saying hotel option number 2. So what I can do is just edit this. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say, I'm going to remove that out, and maybe I'm going to remove out, you know, the pricing, and maybe I'm going to add, you know, confirmation because I've actually booked it this time, you know, and that's really all you need to do. So it's really just from deleting things or editing what was already on there. Dora asks too, can you explain all the options and settings on a trip? Yes, and it looks like this is going to be the question that probably rounds us out as well here. But I want to walk through this because there is a lot of settings actually. And one of them is actually really helpful for proposals, and that's the status. So basically, you always want it to be published, and that's going to be so that you can share this trip and the other person seeing it on the other end will see it. But let's say you've created a proposal and maybe the client's just kind of dragging their feet, or you're like, I'm only going to give this to you for this option's only available for 2 weeks. So if it goes past that, it's no longer available. So then what you can do is just click unpublished. Now, when you click unpublished, that client on the other end who has that link to view the itinerary, it's going to blur it out for them, and it's going to say, you know, that you're currently working on it and to contact you if they have any questions. So I'll show you here what it looks like actually. Because this is really helpful. A lot of users will use this when dealing with proposals and quotes, because it's also a lot of pricing information that you've put out there and you might not want sitting out there all the time. So that's where you can kind of control the security of that proposal. And then the other option is, of course, the start date we went over, the pricing description. We talked about the client actions. That's just allowing them to give them the options of downloading the PDF on their end, getting the app. Agent actions, what this is if you're ever working with another travel agency from another agency, or maybe you know, a tour operator, and you want to send an itinerary to them for them to edit or put into their own account, you can do that. So if you click the save a copy option and you send it to them, if they have a Travefy account, it'll allow them to copy that trip to their account. So it's just a great way for sharing all over, you know, if you need. We also have that messaging option. You can turn it off if you don't want it. Overview map as well. So this will just display at the top, and usually it's turned off already, but you can always enable it, and it's just gonna point out all the places that your client's gonna be traveling to. We have the time format as well. So if you have a client that's going to go off 24-hour time, you can choose that. But we always just set it automatically to the trip viewer's default. And that's really great because it's going to be smart in knowing that if your clients, they're viewing it on their phone and their phone's set to 24-hour clock, then it's going to show them 24-hour clock. So it's the easiest way to do it. And then this is going to take you into your group trip. So again, with that tagging. And then we also have the option to add partner logo in here too. So if you are working with someone else, or if you're working with maybe a corporate client and you want to put their logo in there, you can do that too. So really great, tons of different options in there, as you can see. And then the one thing that I do want to mention here too, as we kind of round out, is I do want to show you where to go for more help. Because I know that we highlighted, you know, proposals and marketing yourself, but there's so many more things you can do on here that we kind of touched on. So if there's any questions you have, definitely contact us, of course. But if you go to the help button on the top right-hand corner here, this is going to bring you into our help center. Now, Scott on the back end here has been working really hard at updating lots of stuff, so go check everything out. But we have a lot of videos in here that those are getting updated right now. So we've been once a year, we like to go through and update them, refresh, because we're adding so many features all the time. So these are going to be revamped in there. So you can go check these out. Any type of itinerary or proposal you're working on, there's a video for that. Most likely. If there isn't, let us know, because most of the time there always is. We also offer trainings, so you can do those. We have webinars that are a smaller version of this, where we just walk through Travefy as a product and really just give you a full demo and answer your questions. So that's great. And then of course, you can contact us as well. And then there's also going to be those help articles and a getting started guide. This is really cool. So for any of you on here who you're going to go start a new trial right after this, definitely check out the Getting Started guide, because it's going to walk you through everything step by step and all of that. But that is really all we have now. So I just want to thank you so much again. Thank you for joining me here today. We really appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to hang out with us and learn something new, and all things. And definitely let us know if there's anything that we can help with in the future. We're always here and happy to help. And enjoy the rest of your day. And let's do really well in this 2020 and do lots of business. So thanks everyone. See you later.